陆城之主，起招！银河，乾坤，黑发真主，轮不到你们来教我做事。
Hello guys, welcome to the Alrasta channel to discuss and explain the exciting storyline of your favorite series, SwallowedStar episode 236. In the previous episode, as soon as Luofeng arrived at the black striped stone pillars, he was suddenly attacked by Clear Eye Master with her illusion techniques. However, Luofeng managed to wake up and push his opponent back, thanks to his soul defense and close combat skills. This moment unexpectedly led him to discover a secret chamber belonging to the 5 Chaos Master. Inside, Luofeng obtained a highly detailed 3D relic map of the 3 most dangerous zones in the Universe Ocean, and then claimed the title as the 20,295th generation Space Master. After giving a copy of that map to his master, he explored further into the Universe Boat. Suddenly, a giant tornado appeared, signaling the birth of the Boat of Mausoleum, which triggered the arrival of many powerful factions to the area. One of them, Lucheng Master from the Purple Moon Holy Land faction, intercepted Luofeng to propose an alliance. Luofeng eventually agreed, but with the strict condition that neither would be subordinate to the other and that they would compete fairly for the treasures. So, what happens next? Alright, without further ado, let's jump right into the story. Located right at the anomaly's center, an energy fluctuation erupted from beneath the Black Sea, shooting straight into the sky and immediately striking an upside-down landmass filled with mountains. Not long after, Luofeng and Lucheng arrived at the scene, directly witnessing the emergence of a massive black ship, also known as the Boat of Mausoleum, a tomb ship belonging to warriors from an ancient civilization. Once the ship's hull was visible above the sea surface, Babata detected the arrival of flying palaces from other factions from the Star Tower's control room. Among these factions were Wu Liang Master and Ying Ai Master, who were known to be a married couple from the Divine Eye clan. They were followed by a plant entity creature from the ancestral god sect named Liu Ju Master, and finally Shihai Master from the skeleton race. All 4 of them were famous figures in the Universe Ocean. Seeing so many other factions interested in fighting over the black ship, Luofeng wasn't scared in the slightest. Instead, he actually looked pumped up for the challenge this time around, guys. Meanwhile, Lucheng Master explained that the requirement to be acknowledged by the Boat of Mausoleum wasn't like the usual method for treasures that only required life imprints. The one and only way to fully take control of the treasures inside the ship was to find the control core first and subdue it. However, to get inside the ship, they had to wait for the hatch doors to open. As soon as the door opened, Lucheng Master warned Luofeng to move in immediately at top speed. Slowly, the black ship began to lift off and hover in the air, showing signs that the hatch on its hull was about to open. After 2 weeks passed, the highly anticipated moment finally arrived when the Boat of Mausoleum displayed a glowing rune on its door, slowly emitting a blinding light. Wasting no time, Lucheng Master and Luofeng immediately dashed toward the ship's hatch. Not wanting to just sit back, the 2 Universe Masters and their subordinates from the Divine Eye clan made their move, followed by Shihai Master and his troops, and Liu Ju Master, who was moving completely solo. On their way there, Shihai Master suddenly had to hold back his laughter when he realized that the figures from the Divine Eye clan who showed up were actually Wu Liang Master and Ying Ai Master, famous for being lovers. Hearing that, Ying Ai Master fired back with an insult, and a heated shouting match sparked between them. Basically, the feud between the Divine Eye clan and the skeleton race went way back, so it was only natural that their encounter was full of conflict. Because the situation was getting out of hand, Liu Ju Master stepped in to stop the 2 of them, and she suggested that the 3 of them form a temporary alliance to take out Lucheng Master, who was considered the strongest competitor and the one who knew the most about the ins and outs of the Boat of Mausoleum. If Lucheng Master managed to beat them to it, the 3 of them, being Tier 5 Universe Masters, wouldn't be able to put up a fight against someone like Lucheng, who was a Tier 6 Universe Master. In the end, Ying Ai Master and Shihai Master agreed with Liu Ju Master's suggestion. Before long, the 3 factions launched a surprise attack from behind, starting with the Divine Eye clan unleashing a combo attack aimed right at Lucheng Master. This was immediately followed up by combined attacks from Shihai Master and Liu Ju Master. Facing the sudden barrage of combo attacks, Luchong Master instantly activated his supreme true treasure, the Deerbug God Armor. Not only did it strengthen his body's defense, but Luchong Master also transformed into a centipede-bodied deer monster. When the transformation was complete, a massive explosion occurred, automatically shattering all of the enemy's combined attacks. Seeing that Luchong Master had already played his trump card, Shihai Master ordered his troops to gang up on Luchong all at once. But in reality, Luchong Master completely ignored Shihai Master's subordinates and decided to head straight for the boat of Mausoleum's hatch alongside Luofeng, who was trailing right behind him. Seeing Luofeng teaming up with Luchong Master, Wuliang Master and Ying-Ai Master voiced their objections to Luofeng's decision to work with him. However, Liu Ju Master suggested they ignore Luofeng, whom she considered the weakest link, and prioritize focusing on stopping Luchong Master from entering the ship first. If they lost track of Luchong Master, they wouldn't get a share of the treasure inside. Suddenly, Liu Ju Master activated her technique to stop Luchong Master's momentum, manifesting a giant hand that grabbed onto Luchong Master's tail. This was shortly followed by a combined technique from the Divine Eye clan that formed a black hole, pulling Luchong Master's body inside. Right in front of Luchong Master, Shihai Master was already there trying to block him using his flying palace, assisted by his subordinates who intended to push Luchong Master straight into the Divine Eye clan's black hole. Pressed by these three combined attacks, a cornered Luchong Master finally gave the signal for Luofeng to make his move. Moving at lightning speed, Luofeng suddenly appeared in the middle of the Divine Eye clan's formation and instantly unleashed his Golden Light technique to shatter the opponent's combo attack. Luchong Master, who managed to break free from the enemy's grasp, immediately rammed into the opponent's flying palace, unleashing a shockwave that instantly blew his three opponents backward. Because their plan was foiled by Luofeng, Ying-Ai Master and Shihai Master warned Luofeng to think twice about allying with Luchong Master, as there was a good chance he could just be getting played by him. Giving them a thumbs down, Luofeng mockingly told his opponents not to meddle in his decisions. Besides, whoever he decided to side with was entirely his own business. After that, Luofeng and Luchong Master quickly slipped into the boat of Mausoleum's hatch, followed closely by the other factions trying to chase them. Upon arriving inside the ship, Luofeng found a ton of branching corridors. Seeing Luofeng looking pretty confused, Luchong Master, who already knew the structural details of the boat of Mausoleum from his clan, ordered Luofeng to just keep following him. Not long after, the three enemy factions entered as well. They also looked quite confused by the branching paths, and ultimately decided to track Luchong Master using Shihai Master's detection powers. Once they successfully locked onto Luchong Master, a high-speed chase kicked off, and the enemy factions quickly managed to tail Luchong Master's location. Not wanting to just be followed so easily, Luchong Master decided to take winding corridor paths to throw his enemies off. When the enemy factions lost track of Luchong Master's whereabouts, they finally decided to split up. Shortly after, one of the enemy subordinate groups managed to find Luchong Master. In the middle of the pursuit, Luchong Master used the severed segments of his centipede legs to activate the trap mechanisms he passed by, catching his opponents off guard. One by one, both the Divine Eye troops and the Skeleton Race troops were killed by the ship's traps. When the Universe Masters from the opposing factions arrived at the scene, thanks to the info from their vanguard troops, they were completely shocked to find that all their forces had been wiped out. Meanwhile, Luchong Master could sense that his rivals were already right behind him. Just like before, using his mastery over activating trap mechanisms, Luchong Master managed to set up a barrier in the corridor to stop his enemies in their tracks. Realizing their strength wasn't enough to break through the barrier, the four Universe Masters were forced to take another route to catch up to Luchong Master. Meanwhile, Luofeng, who had just been tailing Luchong Master this whole time, felt pretty lucky. If he hadn't teamed up with him, Luofeng might have totally gotten lost by now. Especially since Luofeng didn't want to use his Shiwu wings, it would have obviously been a hassle trying to chase Luchong Master, who had the ship's maze layout memorized down to the last detail. Upon reaching the gateway, Luchong Master's body, which originally looked like a centipede-bodied deer monster, transformed back into his true form. Luofeng Master explained that behind the gate in front of them lay the room where the control core was kept, but he didn't know the exact specific spot where the core actually was. So to find it, starting from this very second, their alliance was officially over, because according to their previous agreement, they had to find the control core using their own respective abilities. Hearing that, Luofeng speculated that Luofeng Master was still hiding the secret on how to actually get the control core to acknowledge an owner. Fundamentally, since Luofeng had already mastered the Star Tower by merging his soul core with the Tower Pearl, he obviously didn't need to worry about not being told, because to obtain a priceless treasure, there was bound to be a massive trial anyway. Once the gate opened, Luofeng immediately flew inside and tried to spread his life imprints onto every single object in the room. But as it turned out, all the objects in the room were merely decorations, and there wasn't a single thing that looked suspiciously like the control core. Well, since that method didn't work, Luofeng could only watch to see what kind of method Luofeng Master had been hiding. Seeing Luofeng fail with the life imprint method, Luofeng Master could only grin. Well, Luofeng Master had actually explained earlier that getting acknowledged as the master of this ship wasn't going to be that simple, and it seemed like Luofeng just didn't believe him. Alright, rather than keeping it a secret forever, Luofeng Master finally showed off his moves to find the control core by spreading his divine power across the entire area. However, after meticulously spreading his divine power throughout the whole room, he was shocked to find absolutely nothing that resembled the control core. At this point, Luofeng Master figured that the control core wasn't even there. Not long after, from behind, the Universe Masters of the enemy faction suddenly arrived, having successfully caught up to the two of them. Seeing that Luofeng Master had gotten there first, Wuliang Master assumed that the control core had already been claimed by him. The woman even demanded that Luofeng Master hand the control core over. But Luofeng Master denied the accusation, saying that if he had really gotten it, there was no way he wouldn't have run away by now instead of just standing around in this place. They didn't buy it though, and the four of them decided to launch a direct, coordinated attack. But suddenly, a powerful energy fluctuation erupted, immediately forcing everyone there, including Luofeng, to their knees under the intense pressure. When Luofeng looked back, he saw a mysterious figure sitting on a throne, who introduced himself as Dwandong River Wu. Seeing that the six of them had entered the place where his legacy lay, it was obvious their goal was to claim his inheritance. Dwandong River Wu stated that it was perfectly fine if they wanted his treasures, but if they failed to obtain them, they would be deemed failures and die. Through his remnant soul, he recounted his past before his death. Long ago, he followed an unnamed general on a grand adventure to wage a massive war. But in the end, their mission failed. The man also explained that the amount of time he had spent guarding this ship was already uncountable, spanning countless reincarnation eras. From that point on, he no longer cared about the victories or defeats of his past struggles. However, when it came to his legacy, he wanted to preserve it and didn't want it to just fade away into the flow of time. Luofeng, noticing that the figure in front of him had the title Wu in his name, instantly knew that in his prime, this figure was incredibly noble and highly respected, meaning his legacy was bound to be extraordinary. After that, Dwandong River Wu revealed that he had modified the ship himself, filling it with many dangerous places. Well, this was the reason why Luofeng Master couldn't find the control core, which meant this ship was different from other boats of Mausoleum. As explained earlier, Dwandong River Wu then gave a stern warning to the 6 candidates. If they wanted his legacy, they were required to undergo a life and death trial. However, even if more than one person survived after passing every test, in the end, they would have to compete until only one remained, and the rest of them would have to die. That was the absolute rule to receive his inheritance. Dwandong River Wu then gave the 6 next-generation candidates a choice to immediately decide whether they wanted to leave or stay. Meanwhile, Luofeng concluded that the figure in front of him possessed a very formidable bloodline from the past, and it was obvious the ancient legacy he left behind was priceless. But there definitely had to be a huge price to pay to get all those treasures. Well, even though he was the strongest, he still didn't underestimate his competitors. Meanwhile, Liu Ju Master could only grit her teeth, because this battle was a matter of life and death for her. Shi Hai Master, on the other hand, was overjoyed at seeing a chance to break through the cycle of the reincarnation era in the future. Besides that, even if Luofeng didn't get the legacy opportunity here, he wouldn't actually die because he still had clones left in the original universe, and Luofeng could still break through to the Universe Master level, maybe even the True God level in the future. However, even if Luofeng eventually broke through to the True God level, it was highly likely he still wouldn't be able to escape the ultimate fate of the disaster at the end of the third reincarnation era, which would coincide with the extinction of the human race. Because of that, in order to truly achieve absolute eternity and ensure the human race continued to exist, he couldn't just let this opportunity pass him by. With confident steps, Luofeng slowly walked forward, setting his resolve to participate in the fight for the legacy. Not long after, one by one, the other factions followed suit and stepped forward: Shihai Master, Wuliang Master, Ying'ai Master, Liuzhu Master, and Luchong Master. Well, even though Luchong Master was a member of a huge faction from the Purple Moon Holy Land universe, his life goals were different from Luofeng's. His motivation in life leaned towards the true meaning of eternity, where his spirit for living was fueled by having adventure as his ultimate life goal. Because of that, he'd rather die if this goal couldn't be achieved. At least, that's the vibe I'm getting from Luchong Master. Well, maybe this character was just bored of living forever and chose freedom and challenges as his way of life. Seeing the resolve of all 6 of them, Dwandong River Wu respected the candidates' bravery. But before starting the first trial, Dwandong River Wu needed to weed out any unqualified candidates, because one of them was a creature that was merely a shell without a soul. Seeing that Shihai's body was just a skeleton without an ounce of flesh on it, Dwandong River Wu deemed that Shihai Master didn't belong to their class of race, which were flesh and blood life forms, so he didn't want to pass his treasures on to Shihai Master. Following his rules, Dwandong River Wu forcefully kicked Shihai Master out of his ship. This guy was so insanely strong that just by walking forward, Shihai Master was instantly blown far back and thrown right out of the ship. After that, Dwandong River Wu asked the remaining 5 to follow him to a massive gate. Once they got there, using a retina scan from Dwandong River Wu's eyes, the biometric security gate magically opened on its own. Here, Dwandong River Wu explained that in the first trial, after the gate in front of them fully opened, they were required to advance down the corridor until they reached a hall. Once they made it to that hall alive, they would be considered to have passed. But right before they entered the corridor, Dwandong River Wu suddenly pointed to the 4 candidates aside from Luofeng to go first. Seeing that Luofeng wasn't pointed out directly, Ying'ai Master asked why Luofeng wasn't going in with them. But the question wasn't answered by Dwandong River Wu because his command was the absolute rule for this trial, and if any of them disagreed, that candidate would be considered as having withdrawn. Starting off with curious glares at the special treatment Dwandong River Wu was giving Luofeng, eventually, one by one, the 4 of them flew into the gate. After the gate closed, Luofeng, still standing outside, actually asked about the reason he was separated from the other candidates. But Dwandong River responded coldly and ordered Luofeng to just follow his instructions. Meanwhile, inside the gate, there were ancient writings along with the silhouette of a bloodthirsty creature with razor-sharp teeth. On the other hand, Ying'ai Master felt suspicious of Dwandong River Wu, who seemed biased toward Luofeng. He knew that Luofeng was a figure with extraordinary talent. Even though he was only a dozen eras old, his power was already considered on par with Universe Master warriors. Ying'ai Master thought Dwandong River Wu was being totally unfair for looking at Luofeng with such admiration. But suddenly, their focus was shattered by the sound of a creature roaring loudly down the corridor. With the dark atmosphere of the hallway, the situation grew even more terrifying. Going on high alert, the 4 of them, who were initially separated from one another, eventually formed a defensive formation. Not far from there, hidden in the darkness, a fanged beast was quietly watching its prey. Reeking of heavy bloodlust and intense hunger, the wild beast finally lunged straight at one of the candidates. After that pounce from outside the gate, Luofeng could feel massive waves of energy coming from the battle raging behind those doors. Once the fight was over, Dwandong River Wu announced to Luofeng that one of the 4 had fallen, and the other 3 had passed the selection. Shortly after, Dwandong River Wu announced that it was finally Luofeng's turn to enter the gate. Instead of being scared, Luofeng was actually super curious about what was really inside this life and death corridor. If you guys are curious, you can go in first. It's probably just playing with a cat inside anyway. Alright, thanks for watching until the very end, and don't forget to keep supporting this channel by leaving a comment, dropping a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, bye.
相识。
只有乱，我们还早。